Receiving this first shots.
Okay. Oluetu, want to bring you back into this conversation, and the way he'll look at me to say, no, don't point at me this way. So he mentioned a point that's very, also very close to my heart. He mentioned that, some of the men will say, but she was easy. So we live in a society and what we've been told that, girls need to be picked, and you feel good when you've been picked. And I think in the sight of men, it's when, you're really accepted into society when you reach a certain level of success. And this is probably, I've tried and I've finally got this thing that I've been wanting. So do you think then that the reason why a lot of guys are then not accepting this first shot is, but I got it easy? There's no sense of, I've been pursuing, I've been trying, and finally, because we're also taught that you must play hard to get, keep him on his toes a little bit. Do you think a lot of guys still prescribe or subscribe to that notion that I need to work for this relationship and these girls must not come easy?
I think in the past that held true. But things have changed quite significantly over the years. And maturity is so important when it comes to relationships. If a lady does shoot a shot, a mature individual will see that for what it is. Granted, there are some who are going to think, this is too easy and whatnot, but it also speaks of a lack of maturity. So one needs to be quite mature to even go into a relationship. Anyone who sees it as easy and all of that, there's a flag there to say, maturity levels may not be optimal. So it's important that you are mature, you are whole, and when a lady does shoot her shot, you are able to receive that for what it is. Get to know her, meet her. It's the chemistry. Are we vibing? Are we friends? See whether it's something to be taken forward.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Yeah, Chidi?
Sorry, I just want to come in. I'm going to give my own opinion. I don't like, I'm not a fan of a direct shot in any form of relationship, whether be it a man or a woman. If I'm a man and I see something in Rudzani, I like his person. Do I go to Ruzdani and say, hey, can you be my friend? Can we? I don't do that. I just go and start chatting, smiling with Ruzdani, chatting with him as a guy. That's what we do. Then if you see a lady, you smile, be friendly, smile at the person. You see, my problem is, if I now like Linda, I get to say, let's go on land, let's date. And then by the time we get to, I don't like her, then I say, hey, I don't. I go to, I try this thing, I go there. Then everybody says, he's just trying everybody.
Yeah.
But I'll give an example what happened to me yesterday. I spent some time with Rumbi yesterday, getting to arrange the place and get the couch. And I saw a part of her that I had not seen.
Yeah.
And I liked what I saw. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if I get to say, okay, how will I know? Just seeing her and just trying the first shot? No. Relate as people, as sincere. Sometimes God might tell me I have something to do with Lucia. It must not necessarily be marriage.
No, yeah.
Do you understand? Get to join the usher. Get to arrange the chairs. Get to, there is a conference or a seminar that maybe there's something happening in Rosebank and they're teaching about how to start up a business. Invite some other people and say, hey, let's go here. While you guys are driving, you guys are chatting. I'll pick everybody up. I'll pick all four of you. We're in the car. I'm getting to know the people. And then you see that the more you like the person, you guys are now chatting. I see that you like soccer. We keep talking about soccer. I see that you don't like how people are being oppressed, or you like politics. We start talking there. And we're now building a natural friendship.
Yeah.
And then it goes to the next level, to the next level.
Yeah.
So by the time I said no, I really love this lady, I like all the values. Then you enter.
Yeah.
It becomes, so it is not that I'm picking on every lady.
Yeah. You touched a point. Yeah?
I know there's a panel, but I'm not sure what point we can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, just maybe even for me trying to. Okay. Yeah. The whole shooting.
Yes.
I think over the years, men have always been seen as the hunters, as the ones who go for it, all right? But women can be the ones that are showing that we want to be hunted. That's a way of also shooting your shot.
Yeah.
It is by making it, you're not pretending not to want this person. You're not pretending not to like this person. You are making it clear that I like you. If you come, I will say yes. Or if you come, we can relate.
Yeah.
Are you following? So I'm not saying we can't shoot. Maybe I've been married long. But then we were not quick to shoot shots the way you are talking about shooting shots. We used to make sure or make it clear that I mean I like you, I'm available, or if you ask me to go for coffee or whatever, I'm here. But not me being the one rushing to you to ask. So I do understand or get some guys who are, they're young, but they're old school as well. Who are saying, no, don't come to me. Don't tell me. I want to hunt you. That's just the way some guys are. So you need to know who, just be, you were talking about Boaz and Esther. That position, if she wasn't naked, she wasn't, she wasn't saying, take me now, but she made it clear that I'm available. That's it, I'm available. The ones that drop their scarves, it is just saying, I'm available.
Hey!
You understand? But you're not going right in his face and saying, have you not seen me? So when we were talking initially, I was, what do you even call that shooting your first shot? What do you call it? Because Linda talked about, and even Ayanda said, after she had related with her boyfriend for a while, then says, what are we even doing here? Is that shooting the first shot? I don't know. So if that's shooting the first shot, I think that's correct. But if it is just, you meet this guy and you walk up to him, and thank God for people who are able to do it. Like Muneiwa said, I can just go and say, hey, I like you, and all of that. But it can put some off, and we have to be real. That it can put some people off. So what is important is knowing how to shoot it. How to position yourself. How to show that I like you. If you come, I'm ready.
And I've seen girls, there was this thing on Twitter that was going around that 4 o'clock, Woolworths, in the fruit section, you are literally saying I'm available, But I've seen, the dating culture has changed, right? The dating culture, especially the timing is very correct, right? Like it needs to be very precise. And I've seen girls who a guy will be approaching, right? And they just and the other day, I had to tell a friend of mine that, why did you do that? What's up with that? Where do you get that from? And she was like, no, if he really wants me, he will be after me. I was like, girl, no one's got time for that. And she'll be like, no, he doesn't have game. And I was like, the reason why you're even calling a game, it becomes very competitive. Right? And it's not that. So, and what I'm hearing from this conversation is to say, just be yourself and be welcoming. And I've seen people that are just not welcoming. And coming back to the point of, you spoke about if there's a seminar somewhere, and I want Linda to come in. Where do you think is the best place to meet the single girls and boys that are ready to mingle? Do you think that there is a specific place? Is it church? Is it? He's agreeing. Is it church? Is it at Woolworths? Is it now the dating is seen has changed? Is it online? There's Christian dating sites. Where is there a specific place where to meet? I think Rudeni wants to come in on that.
I guess a pre-answer.
Yeah.
I think a pre-answer is related to what Chidi said, which I think is important. So one of my friends was running out of places to sit in church because there was Jess. At that side, there was Irene. Over there, because he had actually dated all of them.
Yeah.
Like, this is like actually a true story. Like, he couldn't date, and this is in a church which is big. It's not a small church.
Sure.
So he actually couldn't go that side because she's already there. And he just could not date in that church anymore, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's an importance in that pre-dating step and ritual to avoid being in kind of that circumstance where now you have committed to too many people. It becomes an awkward worship experience for yourself, but being smart about the journey and creating room to know each other. And I mean, you can disqualify so many people. Some people you talk to once and you disqualify immediately. You're like, this one never, right? But if you just move, obviously if you flow too quickly, then you can qualify people you shouldn't. But by that time it's too late because you've already qualified them.
Yeah.
And the conversation is actually going. So I think there's something important there with highlighting multiple times in what Chidi was saying, to say, like, create all the other room, and I guess connecting back to your actual question, like, create enough room to actually meet each other in the things you all enjoy.
Yeah.
So if you enjoy sports, like, do sports together.
That's the reason I joined running.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And so forth, right? I did send, all the way to a chat, a large majority of people, especially also because of COVID, most of them are meeting on online dating sites. But also I think there's care in how one treats the online dating world.
Yeah. Because
some of them are obviously just there to find someone to have sex with. So you want to actually be clear why you are there. And from the friend that I spoke to who met somebody that is engaged to, from this online portals, he said the best thing to do is to actually use a paid version, not a free version.
Yeah, okay.
But he did say that women don't want to pay for the platforms because they feel like they are the prize on the social platform. But he says the paid version, you get to decide who can actually DM you and who can't.
Anyone from the audience that has ever tried, sorry, Rizani, anyone from the audience that has ever tried online dating? You have? Oh, okay, so we'll share that, some of this. No, I think we'll come back to that, and maybe you will just share a little bit of experience, because a lot of us are also very scared of the online dating,
But also, I think the reason to also mention is not to be scared of it. I mean, 20 years ago, if you applied for a job, you would have printed out a physical paper, wrote with pen and ink, submitted to this physical human, and said, I want the job. Today, no one does that.
Yeah.
There's no job applications, only in rare instances, right? Will you ever actually do that? I think the communication and engagement game is also changing, which then also changes shooting the first shot. Because on the online platform, you have to shoot a shot, regardless of whether you are a man or a woman, because that's how the conversation actually starts. But what's also important in those portals, from what this friend of mine was saying, is that you have to ask open-ended, good questions to easily qualify and disqualify people. So don't say, is sex before marriage okay? Because you've already told them the answer they should give you.
Yeah.
Right? You should say, what are your views on sex? That's very open-ended. What do you think about ancestors? Right? The moment you add a very strong Christian lens to it, you've already given them the answer, and they can manipulate that to get to a particular outcome. So I think, That would be my addition.
Sure. I'm enjoying this conversation. Are you guys getting something from it? Please remember to send your questions as well if you've got anything, or your opinions on the WhatsApp group. So very important. Guys, I've got so many questions, and I think from the script that we've prepared, I'm just going to jump around. So please do bear with us. And I'm very cognizant of the time. I think this segment was supposed to end in the next 10 minutes, but let's see how it goes. It's a Saturday morning, single people. Do you have anywhere to go? You've got dates. It's going to be happening. Yeah, and I want to come back and touch on the point of. So you've met this person. Where do we go in terms of the date, right? What are we doing in these dates, and who pays for it? So I always joke about, I had an instance where guy was pursuing, well, I thought he was pursuing, went out for lunch, and we get there, we order, very great conversation, it was flowing. I don't think I'm a very difficult person to just flow with, right? At the end of the date, he says the bill comes, right, puts it on the table, he opens it, and he says, oh, we're going Dutch, right? Dutch means we're going half, right? And I was just like, oh, no, don't worry, I'll cover this one, you'll cover the next one, right? And we go home. It was on a Tuesday, like it was a lunch break. Bill was something about $3.98. We had a salad and water or something like that. So I covered the bill. He didn't object at that point. It was a Tuesday. Wednesday passes. Thursday passes. Friday, I remember sending him a message. I was like, couldn't have been that boring, right? Like, why are you not coming back to me? And he says at that point in time, he felt emasculated, that I should have just allowed us to go Dutch. And I'm trying to explain myself. I was like, no, man, I just thought the bill was $3.98. I just thought it's just a rough patch. And I'm trying, and genuinely, right? And I'm genuinely trying to explain myself to say, my reasoning is because we cannot be going, if it was 1.8, if we were at signature, but we're talking about $3.98. And he says, and I had to apologize, and I said, I apologize if you really feel like that. That was not my intention. What I was trying to check was that maybe you're just going through a rough patch, and let me cover it this time, and you cover it next time. Was I wrong? And I like, was I wrong? Chidi, was I wrong?
Okay, yes. And I'll be okay. I'll be very, I think we're all different.
Okay.
You might meet somebody that understands that, but also remember the African where you are as well. And then I'm even surprised he even raised that of the Dutch. But I think my personal opinion is follow the lead. For instance, if someone comes to you and says, let's go somewhere, don't choose somewhere too expensive or too cheap. Just pick something that is a little bit, because you don't know. There's some people, if you go too expensive, they say, this is high maintenance, I can't.
Yeah.
If you go too cheap and true, they say, that is low class. So I think for a start, because you don't know.
There are people that have gone to KFC, Chidi, and succeeded, right? In the room.
But because you don't know the philosophy of the person or the thinking of the person, you make it middle ground. And also in our context, assume that everyone thinks African, so you allow the man to be, allow his ego.
Okay.
So if he suggests, allow that, because of where we are. Maybe if you were in America or you were in Netherlands, it could be, you get what I mean? So I think it's just to be conscious of where we are. And and especially, people, a lot of men are intimidated by if they look at the woman, they're just already assessing from the person, way the person looks. This person earns 10 times my salary. I can't go there. So when they have the boldness to, and you then do that, they say, it was a confirmation.
Sure, okay. All right. And I want to come back to the point of salary parity, right? A lot of women are successful, 9-figure salaries, if there's ever such $1 million, 6 figures. And there are women that are generally doing well, right? Where else? And does it really play a big thing? And the ladies, Linda, if you can just comment on this one to say, how do we deal with the aspect of salary differences and you're making more, and does it really add anything into the marriage, and are guys generally put off by that? I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you, Zeki.
I would say you need to, like to Olwetu's point, be mature between the two of you. And from my perspective, it's important for me, which I'm thankful that my husband is confident in himself, and so am I. So we are not sizing each other up based on what he brings or what I bring, and there are different seasons in our marriage and in our lives. There are seasons where he is flourishing and he can do exceedingly abundantly what he's expected to do, and there are seasons where he may not be able to do that. But I think overall it's about just being comfortable in yourselves, because in the seasons where I'm flourishing, I'm not going around making him feel any less than the seasons where he was at his peak. I think it's about how we treat each other, it's about how we come across with each other and love each other. And I think that's what's important. But it starts, I think, from being confident in yourself and being assured of yourself, especially as a man. Because the men can talk to it. I think there could be situations. I've had people who have possibly had situations where the man might be down, and it's a big issue because in his mind he should always kind of be up there. So I think it's an understanding that there are different seasons.
Cool. Olwetu wants to come in on this point.
Yeah, sure. It's not a competition. There's one team, and that team needs to win. That family is as a team, and they can't be competing with one another. We should be excited that the one party is earning so much more, because it means there's more for the household.
For the collective.
That's it. It's for the collective. So again, maturity. If there are concerns around that, it's a flag. It's something that needs to be dealt with.
Okay, Chidi,
I think for me is to realize that we are different stages in our lives. Sometimes some people grew up in a way that have made them timid and inferior. They might be inferior now in their mindset, but remember, we're believers. We are being renewed. We're being transformed. We get bolder and bolder. The Peter that was afraid of the little girl, the word came and he changed and he's bold before everybody. So the man that God might bring your way might be timid initially. But as you guys grow in Christ, or as he grows, he comes to the church, he keeps going, something might break in him and he might not. So I always encourage people, make it easier for the next person. So that's why even Paul will always tell you, said, if eating meat is going to cause someone to sin, hey, let it go. So if you're a lady and you're doing very well, just also be conscious that some people might be intimidated, but maybe that's the person God has brought your way. And as you guys go in it, he might become strong. And next thing you rub in on him, and next thing he overtakes you even. You might be spiritually here, then next thing he catches the fire and he's way above you. So I think it's just to be conscious of how we always be humble, always smile to people. Don't look down on anybody. Because the person today could, I know when I met Yaya, and I know what our salary gap was. And I know what it is. God has,
Amen.
I was the gap from me, I was way high. But God has prospered us so much. You understand? So you might be here and the person you're meeting is here. Next thing, 2 years down the line, you guys get married and the door opens. You'll be here, the person is at the roof.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah. And now we're in a relationship. Yeah?
Can I add to it?
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's probably, an importance of the pre-marriage phase and the marriage phase.
Yeah.
The money means something different in marriage, right? Because I think in some of the answers we're answering, like we are married, but the reality is it's dating, right? If you are meeting a lady and she earns twice as much, she wants, like her normal lifestyle is to go to Melrose, Arc, right? You still call it Melrose Arch, There are gaps there that are intimidating to you.
Okay.
Every single male that I spoke to was intimidated by the reality of a woman earning twice as much, right? I didn't, not 10% more, twice as much. So and it was also around the lifestyle, right? Like the one friend that I spoke to, the first date was at a place where he couldn't afford that minimum pay. Like, even if you drink water, this is the minimum that you pay. And he was already intimidated by that minimum pay, right? So I think there is a reality here before marriage of how you actually navigate it, especially if you are a woman who earns more. Because once you are married, yes, it doesn't, if they're down, they're ups, the team must win, but we're married. It's different, right? But before, it's about the navigation to actually get to that point. And I think there's probably an importance about also, like, what are we marketing before we are married? And I think the importance of it, one, you want to market that you actually love Jesus. You have a growing relationship with Jesus, and that's the most important thing to you, right? And to market that, you don't need to go to the most expensive restaurant. You can actually go to a conference, right, and get to know each other, which is very cost effective. You pay 8 rand, you're done, you eat hot dogs, you've spoken, right? Those kind of things, right? And then that's also the thing you want to identify in the person.
Yeah.
Do they love Jesus? Do they have a growing relationship with Jesus? What's their character? And so forth. What actually enables that to actually come out the most, right? And then some of those things of who earns more, et cetera, can come up progressively and naturally, right? With time. In fact, it can even come up while no one has committed anything to the other. It's still in the context of friendship. Oh yeah, by the way, this name here of this building, it's my name. Oh, okay, that's interesting. We're already in love, and so forth. But it can be, right? And I think it also goes back to be aware of where you are. We are in Africa. Historically, we've all heard it. Our parents have told us, a woman who earns more will disrespect you. It's not even a surprise, right? We've all heard it. This is the fact of the context. And this is something that needs to be outworked from our systems, but it's still in the majority of people's minds.
Yeah.
And we have to go in with that consciousness and say, how do I actually, position things so that I don't trigger and activate these fears, as much as we would want everyone to be fully matured, fully identity in Jesus. We know sanctification is a process. And depending on where you find them in that process, you might obviously, scare them off and scare them away, and so forth. So I think we have to probably be realistic about this side of the marriage, our relationship, and the other side.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that.
Oh yeah, the one lady that I asked to say, what if you earn more? She said, I earn so little. It would be so poor. It would not be practical. The best thing is he must just earn way more.
Yes.
So he can't earn less because, I don't have much. But yeah, she doesn't have much by choice. But anyway, that's a side story.
Cool.